Hi friends, and welcome to TNT. Well, there's speculation of an early election in Thailand, speculation of a meeting between the presidents of the United States and China, and also a big farang trying to hijack a taxi in Krabi. That's all coming up in today's TNT. Yes, Wednesday's program, the middle of the week. Thank you very much for joining us. A bit of a change of scenery. Had a bit of hay fever where I was, so I thought I'll get the hell out of there and find somewhere a little bit different. So the eye's a bit puffy this morning due to a whole lot of sneezing. Let's get started. And we can explain, says the Thai PM. Now this is over the outcry, the ongoing or the burgeoning resistance to the idea of foreigners owning land in Thailand, and we've got a bit more about this later, where there have been some more proposals put to modify what they were suggesting in a cabinet approved proposal last week. So the Thai Prime Minister is getting it from a few directions at the moment. Let's go through those. The Thai Prime Minister Prayut Chan-o-cha offering to explain his government's policy to sell land to wealthy foreigners. In the second paragraph, saying it's being scrutinised by the Council of State. And down the bottom, when asked for more information on the policy, Prayut only said, "It's nothing serious. We can explain everything." Well, of course you can. But there has been a growing outcry. Let's read about that. One of the loudest voices of dissent came from a well-known influencer, Boy Seti Nakarat, who sells land and houses via his YouTube channel. We'll check that out in just a moment, but quite popular. In a Facebook post, the YouTuber said the policy was a betrayal of his motherland, and he added that he'd been offered a lot of money to act as a broker and scoop up land for foreign buyers, but he rejected the offer because he couldn't sell his own country. So there has been some growing dissent in Thai media, and as I said yesterday, I think this is currently dead in the water, or it's going to get a lot of modifications before it actually happens, and I don't think it's going to happen in this parliament. So the opposition have already said they're against the proposal, so I really don't know if it's going to ever happen, but we'll follow the story. The Prime Minister denies rumours of Parliament dissolution after the APEC summit. So imagine that the Prime Minister, the government are hosting all these world leaders. There's lots of handshakes, lots of colour, a lot of people lining up for group photos. And of course, a lot of politicians think that's an ideal time to call an election when there's all this feel-good vibe around the place. But the Prime Minister saying no, he's denied rumours that the government would dissolve Parliament after fulfilling its duties of hosting the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation. That's going to be on November the 18th and the 19th. During a media interview after the cabinet meeting on Tuesday, Prayut said the government has no plan regarding Parliament dissolution. He said he had no idea where the rumours had originated. Well, I think it's obviously just a thing of Parliament's coming to the end of its term, a big event like APEC. Obviously something like a call to dissolve Parliament could be on. Let's go to another thing he spoke about yesterday. When asked about the broadcasting rights of FIFA World Cup 2022 that's currently under negotiation, he said that he's positive the telecast will be available for free in Thailand. Thais love their football, and the World Cup's going to be very popular, but at the moment none of the Thai broadcasters have bought rights to show the event for free. The Sports Authority of Thailand said last month it would buy the licence for live broadcasts of the World Cup if private broadcasters fail to secure the rights to ensure viewers in Thailand can watch the matches for free. So it looks like you've got some sort of guarantee that you will be able to watch the World Cup for free in Thailand. With thanks to 5 Star Marine, our sponsors, this is the TNT program. Thank you very much for dropping in, and for the person who yesterday suggested I sound like I'm pleading for subscribers. Well, I probably am. So if you do get an opportunity, that's the subscribe button down under this video. Now, Prayut's also got into the act. He was the stand-in Prime Minister whilst the Election Commission was looking at exactly how long the current Prime Minister's term actually was. Well, they also door-stopped him as he made his way out of cabinet yesterday. Prawit and others reject the House dissolution speculation. The Deputy Prime Minister Prawit Wongsuwon and other executives of Palang Pracharat reject speculation that the Prime Minister Chan O-cha will dissolve the House on December the 24th. Nice Christmas Eve present. No, General Prawit replied tersely. I don't think there is going to be an early election at this stage. I think they'll probably run out the full term. Very hard at the moment to try and figure out, if you get the numbers out and tick, 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 the various politicians to see where they're going to vote and where the MPs are going to fall. It's very hard to predict at the moment, so we'll keep an eye on it. It will be a very interesting time when they do, whether it's early or on time, call a general election. To our next story today, and big farang steals taxi from Krabi airport, nabbed when he stops for a soda and hides in the toilet. There he is. He indeed is a big farang. How big, you ask? Well, about 180 to 190 centimetres tall. Now, he stole a taxi from Krabi International Airport. The third paragraph, he stopped to buy a soda at a roadside grocer. On seeing the police, the man, called Big Farang by the media, ran into the female grocer's toilet and refused to come out. Well, there's a mistake. Could be arrested for going into a female toilet, I suppose. Trang police said he is Norwegian. He was largely incoherent, but the police managed to find out that he'd taken a bus from Bangkok to Krabi, then had gone to the airport to try and get a bus back to the Thai capital, reported Sanuk. He wouldn't cooperate and kept saying, my, no. While the driver was putting bags in the trunk, the man jumped in the driver's seat and drove off, nearly injuring him in the process. Before his arrest, he'd sideswiped a motorcycle and a car, causing damage to the cab. So I think this man has had a few too many to drink, and will be interesting to see if anything eventuates from that particular story about Big Farang. Thai PBS World saying Chonburi Deputy Police Chief removed over alleged corruption. Seems to be a lot of this sidelining of police at the moment, and we'll have a look at the man who's really behind that particular campaign in a moment. But to this story, and the Deputy Commander of Chonburi Provincial Police has been abruptly transferred to an inactive post at the operations centre after he was implicated in a bribery case and in an attempt to swap suspects. Just learned today that there's two ways of spelling the word swap. I've always spelled it S-W-A-P, but apparently you can also spell it S-W-O-P, which I suppose makes more sense anyway. Surajat Hakpan alleged that Cornwat conspired with 4 criminal suspects to replace them with other individuals in exchange for a payment of 1 million baht. That's corruption indeed. The 4 suspects were among 10 who surrendered to Chonburi police after they allegedly raided a resort down the bottom. The alleged raiders did not find the debtor, but allegedly assaulted 5 other people in the resort and shot out the tyres of 3 cars there. So adventure abounds in Chonburi, and it looks like the Deputy Commander of Chonburi is going to be sitting at a desk job at HQ for a little while. To Thai PBS World, and a follow-up to the Indian Bridge story. The death toll has now climbed to 135. The second paragraph there, we believe 1 person is still missing at present. Local residents at the scene of the wrecked bridge told Reuters they believed more than 200 people were on the bridge and feared the death toll could rise further. The next paragraph, the bridge, a 233-metre bridge and 1.25 metres wide, was originally built in 1877 and had been closed for 6 months for repairs until last week. Looks like something may have been amiss with those repairs. CCTV footage of the incident showed a group of young men trying to rock the bridge from side to side, while others took photos before they tumbled into the river below as the cables gave way. So that's the latest of that incident in India, which happened just the day after the Itaewon disaster in Seoul during that crowd crush incident. Now, the next one is a follow-up to the story about the proposal to grant land, freehold, to foreigners. So there has been quite a lot of debate in the community, and a lot of people saying, oh, selling the farm, it's going to end civilization as we know it. So the government are actually now considering making some further amendments. I don't think you'll like these. So the first one is investment. The draft specifies that a foreigner must invest at least 40 million. However, Wisano Kriyanam said critics want the government to increase the amount. So maybe you're going to have to pay more than 40 million into bonds and shares and investment in Thailand just to get the right to buy a block of land. The second one, the length of time. The draft directive requires foreigners to maintain the investment for 3 years, but critics are calling for a longer period. So the earlier 3-year period may be extended to even more, where you can't touch your money. The resale of land, critics say the foreigners should be prohibited from reselling the land they hold in bits and pieces. So in other words, you won't be able to cut up the one rai of land into smaller parts. Mind you, one rai of land is probably just enough for a comfortable house and a bit of a garden anyway. And purchasing clusters of land, critics say that foreigners should be prohibited from buying plots of land next to each other. So I think there's probably going to be some modifications to these rules before it happens, if it happens. And when the legislation finally comes out, I think it's probably going to be untenable or unsavoury for most people who are thinking of buying a block of land in Thailand. You're watching the TNT program on a Wednesday. To our next story, and police warn of foreign nightlife mafia after inspecting Bangkok pubs. There's been quite a few raids on private pubs and nightlife zones around Bangkok in the wake of that raid on a Chinese-owned karaoke bar, party den I think they called it, which was hidden in behind a car wash centre. So police look like they're definitely cracking down on this. Police warning of foreign nightlife mafia. The two deputy national police chiefs led the inspection by 200 tourist police. Must have rounded them up from a few districts ahead of the tourism high season. Targeted venues, not sure if you've been to any of these lately, were Space and K Bangkok on RCA, Hollywood, Bruise and Asgard in Hoi Quang, and Babyface in the Klong Tan area. Not aware of any of those establishments, but sure they're obviously popular with foreigners. It says that they warned that the pubs where drugs, guns or underage patrons are found could have their licences revoked for 5 years. He also said foreign investors are operating like mafia in Thailand's nightlife sector, adding that police and immigration officials are working together to eliminate them. So foreign ownership of pubs and nightlife might have a big question mark around it if they continue to find these places are operating incorrectly. And Surachat Hakpan said police would be monitoring pubs owned not just by Chinese operators but also Thais. He also admitted that they'd been tipped off on the foreign ownership and some of the activities of some of those pub owners. And to the Straits Times for a bit of regional news as the coffee machine kicks in. And this is from the Straits Times, says US and Chinese officials working to set up Biden-Xi meeting. This is a good story because we do need to get these two leaders sitting in the same room discussing the situation, particularly the situation in Taiwan. And US and Chinese officials are still working to arrange a face-to-face meeting between President Joe Biden and Chinese President Xi Jinping at the G20 summit in Bali later this month. National Security spokesman John Kirby told reporters staff-level work is ongoing to set up the potential meeting. So these three leaders will be in the region over the next couple of months. We've got the APEC meeting, the ASEAN meeting and the G20 meeting, and it would be good to see these two leaders getting together, shaking hands, showing some goodwill, and I think that would be the sort of image that the world would like to see as tensions seem to be building over what's happening in Taiwan. And we finish with a tourism story today. The TAT predicting 18 million foreign arrivals in 2023. This story from the Bangkok Post, and I'm not going to pour a whole lot of scorn on the TAT, just in case you're getting ready for it. The tourism leaders are projecting 18 million foreign arrivals in 2023, while holding out little hope the Chinese market will return any time soon. So some sensible comments coming out of the TAT for once. Indeed, they have got a different spokesperson we'll get to in just a moment. Under the base case scenario, Thailand could have 18 million foreign tourists, of which 72% would come from short-haul markets. This has been a big change in tourism at the moment. A lot of the tourism numbers are coming from shorter haul flights, including India, which is by far leading the way in tourist numbers in Thailand at the moment. The spokesman is Tanet Petsuwan, TAT's Deputy Governor of Marketing for Asia and South Pacific. So he's saying some sensible things here. As of October the 30th, tourists from Southeast Asia, South Asia and South Pacific tallied 4.1 million this year, accounting for 54% of the total visitors, while tourists from East Asian markets, most of them just reopened, followed with 11%. Despite travel restrictions, the number of Chinese visitors totaled nearly 192,000 as business visitors and students were allowed to take outbound trips. Just speaking to some tourist operators and hotel owners this week, they're saying they are seeing quite a few Chinese visitors, despite the fact that they've got the zero COVID policy still in place and it's difficult for Chinese outbound travel. So not sure how they're getting out, but they are. And with that, we'll say thank you very much for watching our little roundup of the main news stories from Thailand and the region. If you get an opportunity, please subscribe to the channel, and we look forward to seeing you again tomorrow.